Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 835, I think. It is August 27, 2025. I am Sebastian Peak.
Jeremy Hellstrom, I presume.
I'm Josh Walrath.
Pleased to meet you, Brett Van Spernberg.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
You know, we're back like we said we would be. We keep our promises here at PCPer, a name you can trust in the PC hardware podcast game. And that's one of the reasons we have so many devoted followers who are also our patrons. We have people who literally support us financially on a platform for that very purpose. It's called patreon.com/PCPer. I forgot to mention the /PCPer last week. I apologize. I know you came back this week just to hear that URL.
We missed hundreds of new patrons,
possibly
because of that,
thousands.
Even.
But hey,
I hope it's someone named Strudel.
Strudel? Oh, I see where you're going with that. Danish bite. No, not bites. Danish bits.
Yeah.
You have to call
they
out
stand alone.
Danishes are good
bits.
too.
Thank you for your contribution.
Is this when I stand up and give my Fiona Apple award?
Yeah.
You know, this is all fake. This is all bullshit.
Pants.
A 20s flapper dress. Wasn't that what she was wearing?
AI
Yes,
generated.
it was. I don't know why I remember that.
Again.
You know, so you're spending all this money on us. It's all for nothing because we're not real.
Let's move to food. Wait, no. Josh did not have a burger this week.
You know, I have not had really anything this week to eat.
You've been ill.
Take it away, Brock.
You didn't even know
You've had COVID this week.
Yeah.
I've had COVID this week, and let me tell you, it's no joke. Look how shiny my forehead is. I'm still sweating and fighting a fever, and this started on Saturday night. Yeah, this latest version is
fever.
It was. Yes. Move along.
Okay. So in his stead, we have to talk about burgers. Brett had a burger.
I'll do my best.
All right,
I did.
Talk about it.
It was absolutely delicious. I had a burger at a place called Chard. I believe it was the Roadhouse, if I remember correctly. It's very piled high burger, crisp bacon on top of it. This one particular shot has the egg. I didn't get the egg. I got the pulled pork on top of it with a little barbecue sauce. They initially tried to give me plastic silverware to kind of handle this. But I eventually had to get a real metal blade in order to take this one apart and try and devour it. The truffle fries on the side were sublime. Very well done. Very nicely done. They are this tall, nicely stacked, as they say. I managed to eat the whole thing without dinner. No dinner tonight, if you can imagine that.
So for people listening, the burger from this photo from Grubhub that I'm looking at, the burger appears to be about 6 to 8 inches tall.
It was easily a 6-inch tall burger. Yeah.
Okay, that's a big burger.
Yeah. Which is why I had to kind of cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
No, you think I'm exaggerating. You insist upon the fact that I'm exaggerating.
It's a proud 8.
It was sizable. It was a sizable burger and delicious. Like I said,
in many cases,
not hungry at all for dinner. So, Josh, I know how you feel.
All right. With that impromptu burger segment completed, we're going to move to the most important segment of the week, and really of the quarter, because NVIDIA just announced their financial results just hours ago, and our roving reporter Josh Walrath is on the scene.
Yeah, ticker tape things. You know, it's strange, but NVIDIA made some money this quarter. And not only did they make some money, they yet again topped their previous quarters with money being made. They $46.7 billion. And
not to interrupt you, but didn't the market suggest this was lower than they were hoping for?
Yes and no. That's an interesting little thing here. I mean,
you're going to mention that because that was a little.
their after-hours share price went down $4 because they thought, their data center and their outlook should be a little bit better. That they actually underperformed from where, kind of the higher end expectations were, but it still was not a bad quarter altogether. So, $46.7 billion in revenue. Their net income was $26.4 billion, which, if you add up AMD and Intel's quarter, that's still like, doing quick math in my head, that's $7 billion more than those two companies made in revenue. And that's their net income. That's their profit for the quarter. Their margins are almost 73%. That's just absolutely insane how well they're doing. Their gaming segment was almost $4 billion, which, again, I mean, they're still selling a lot of cards. And they claim that the 5060 series is selling extremely well. And apparently a lot of people out there are buying the 8 gig 5060s. Who would have thought? So, it's a company that seemingly can do no wrong. I mean, their margins are absolutely sky high. Their return on investment is just insane. Their data center, continues to grow. And not only that, but they've actually done some things in automotive that, haven't talked much about. So it's still slowly going, but now they finally they announced their full stack NVIDIA Drive AV software platform. It's now full production and ready, and people can go ahead and license and integrate this into their vehicles. And it, they have the NVIDIA Drive AGX Thor, the NVIDIA Jetson AGX Thor developer kit is available, and also, it's robotics. All these things that they are pushing Blackwell technology and everything into is absolutely insane where they're going. So gaming, $4.3 billion, up 14% from the previous quarter and 49% from the year ago. So they're still selling a lot of video cards. Data center is, of course, $41.1 billion, up 5% previous quarter, 56% more from a year ago. I mean, just the amount of growth is nuts, and they continue. And this is without even, what was it, the H10 or H20 chip that is on hold for China, depending
H20.
on if they
H20,
depending on
which
if
they're
they
not bothering to sell anymore. Because why bother?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people still want to buy them, and that's one of the things that the U.S. government may take 15% of sales, which the libertarian inside of me is screaming and wailing at
Don't
that.
worry, it gets worse.
Yeah, so we're looking into some interesting times now. What's really amazing is, so $46.7 billion. Next quarter, we expect around $54 billion. That's another $8 billion extra than they had this quarter. That's still a massive jump in quarter to quarter. I mean, there's no wonder why this is the most valuable company on earth. I mean, they are just printing money in Santa Clara, and they are not stopping, and they continue to go forward, and they're doing other things with their, rack size GPU scaling and networking. They also, another thing they had, NVLink stuff is going forward. I'm trying to find through my notes. But I think that they've got another big networking addition that should be a big part. Gosh darn it. Anyway, it's they just keep moving forward. Consumers, automotive, data center, and we haven't hit the bubble yet. There are some people that think we're getting a little close, that things are getting, a little squishy just because, everybody's AI crazy. They're getting these models out. They're integrating. I mean, whenever you type a Google search, it gives you an AI breakdown. And that's, data being sent to Google and going through their, chunky AI process and eating cycles and eating electricity. And it's not even something that some people want. It's just something there. And they still don't have a good idea, excuse me, how to monetize a lot of this AI stuff. I mean, hang on.
Except for NVIDIA. NVIDIA knows how to monetize the AI stuff. They are champions at it. But
Microsoft is they're starting to monetize their stuff a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because they have, licensing for Copilot and, domain and Azure stuff and people can have that functionality and it actually works well. I've had some people on my team that utilize that and it does fine, but they're, actually monetizing Copilot. And some of the other things are just simply not. But yeah, the growth in at least the short term, it's real and it's amazing. And I'm wondering when we're going to start hitting some roadblocks of external infrastructure because all these data centers need power. And where are they going to get it from? Are you going to do all these huge transmission lines? How long does that take to coordinate and get permits for? And I mean, because still in terms of killing animals, transmission lines are still one of the worst out there for bird kills, bad kills, and whatnot. So yeah, I wonder when the infrastructure is going to be overwhelmed and they actually have to stop because they simply can't power these data centers.
Ask Texas. They'll probably be the canary in the coal mine.
Well, thank you, Josh, for the financial report for this month. I'm sure we'll have more to follow. Isn't NVIDIA usually first, and then we'll get like AMD, Intel?
No, AMD and Intel were 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because what quarter was this for NVIDIA? 2028?
Yeah, I hate how they do their...
I think
it's second quarter 2026.
Yeah,
I think is what it's...
Sorry.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
No, it's...
Oh, okay. All right. Speaking of reasonable, it is probably totally reasonable for Microsoft to expect that their users are the beta testers. We talked last week about SSD failures, Windows 11, this KB5063878 update that was apparently breaking some people's SSDs, at least in certain workloads. The one report that was out there allegedly confirming the Phison controller, that may have been faked.
Well, with a couple of integrates, but I mean, honestly, the vast majority of controllers are Phison with a couple of integrates thrown in there. So if you're going to see an issue, it's going to be on the Phisons. That's what is out there. So Phison hasn't been able to reproduce it.
No.
And I have literally transferred hundreds of gigs between these three over the last week and have not had an issue. The P41, P51, and an interesting one from Team Group, which you might hear more about when I took a look at this P51. But yeah, I have, nuked my system 3 times now, transferred hundreds of gigs of not compressed files and compressed files, and nothing has died that, I didn't kill. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's looking like the situation may have been a little overblown. Phison says that they have been unable to reproduce the issue despite 4,500 hours of testing.
But hey, use a heatsink just for safety.
Yeah, I like that. Like, use a heatsink just in case. This is a story at Tom's Hardware. So, yeah, I mean, all Gen 5 and Gen 4 SSDs get toasty.
Oh, do they ever? Because, this poor little enclosure, there was some heat throttling involved in this. I ended up digging out an old heatsink and just sitting it on top of it.
I also like to prop up a case fan nearby as well. Just to keep...
Oh, no, I had a room fan blowing on it, too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, well, so that may not be a major concern, depending on what SSD you use. However,
or depending on what workload it fails under, because 1% fails, but it's in data center stuff that can be bad.
1% of millions
I'm sure we'll
is
hear
still a
more on
lot.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another issue that came up, I think, after we podcasted last week. Apparently, Microsoft also broke OBS. SSD failures, that may or may not be a reproducible problem, but you don't want important software in daily use like OBS to be unstable after a supposed security hotfix. But that's just the world we live in.
RUDP. They broke the Reliable User Datagram Protocol, which is what OBS and all the rest of them sort of depend on, because you do want those packets to arrive, and you do want them to arrive in order. And so whatever this update did has kind of broken it. And so there is a way you can switch to TCP or UDP. It's going to chew up more CPU cycles, but it will still work. So if you're planning on doing some streaming, this patch hasn't been patched yet, but there's a nice workaround. And you can find that on the post on PCPer there.
Excellent. More storage-related information. This is something I felt compelled to write a news post about. It doesn't sound that exciting at first. So we're talking about QLC NAND from SK hynix that's coming to consumer products next year. What's exciting about this to me is if you actually read about this product, it is their new 321-layer QLC NAND. It is a 2 terabit product. This is double their previous chip capacity. And not only is it going to eventually double the capacity of lower cost QLC-based SSDs, but it has significantly higher performance. They say that with this new stacking tech, they're getting 56% higher write performance now. Reads are like 18% higher as well.
Sebastian, I have a question. How was AI used to subvert human intellects in the design of this product?
That's a great question. Of course, being current year, they did invoke AI in their press release.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to kind of write around that as much as I could, but yes. They're talking about how this is for AI and data center, but it's coming to consumer first. They were specific about that. So expect bigger, slightly faster, inexpensive NVMe drives next year. And so the one bright spot in the enthusiast space continues to be storage, and it's just going to get even better next year. So I was very happy to see that. I want to say, what?
Yeah, right. Writes are already high across the board. I mean, not writes, but reads. And it's only getting better. And this is QLC stuff too. So it's, the cheapest of the cheap. And depending on the controller, this should be pretty nice. And again, you can get a PCI 5.0 2 terabyte for $200 now, even though I bought mine for $320 only like 4 months ago.
That's sad.
I'm angry.
I want to see 1 terabyte drives kind of go the way of the 256 gig drives. Just the absolute budget, like $25 to $50 option. 2 terabyte for $100. That's the dream.
Yeah. Now, a couple of
for me.
models or a couple of lines that I've seen recently do 500 gig, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte. It's like, if you want to go cheap, fine. Here's half a terabyte. It's cheap. 1 terabyte, no, we're just not going to do it. 2 terabyte, where everyone wants to sit, and 4 terabyte, hey, if you can afford it. Yeah, which I think makes sense.
Once you get Windows and all your drivers installed and load a couple of games, you're already half full on a 1 terabyte drive. Yeah. So it's just not
just amazing anymore to think of where we were with the X25. That was 80 gigabytes. And the reads were about 200 megabyte per second, and the writes that they limited to 20 megabyte per second.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is an 80 gigabyte X25M.
That's the one.
That's the one that started all of this insanity. They had the first mass-produced, truly, because everything was J Micron before then. And of course, all the problems with the J Micron SSD controllers were, well documented with stuttering and file transfer stops and, just a terrible experience. And then Intel came out with their own controller that just wiped the floor.
And if it wasn't for that damn Melvin Tano fixing the right errors,
I know.
it would have just died out.
He liked backing it into a corner and punishing it. But
Oh,
Intel,
he did.
thankfully, they
He's
came up with
made-
a solution.
He's made a career out of it. We can say.
Yes,
Yeah.
he has.
Okay, let's go to the next. Oh man, we're just more and more.
Oh, you mean speaking of
Piling
QLC?
on.
Yeah,
Speaking of
more
SSDs.
storage coverage. So the SanDisk WD Blue SN5100. This was just announced today. It is, well, of course, I was going to say this is a WD Blue. That's what the sticker says, but of course they have since rebranded. Now all flash products at Western Digital are branded SanDisk.
Yes.
SanDisk.
So Serve the Home has a piece on this. 2
Yeah,
terabytes.
so it's QLC,
Okay.
in-house.
Am I seeing
In-house
DRAM
controller.
here, or is that the controller?
You are not.
Okay.
It's DRAMless.
Okay.
But it's rather impressive because it is essentially hitting the ceiling of PCIe 4x4. They were getting just under 7,000 megabytes read and around 6,700 megs sequential writes. So theoretical maximum on QLC, which should be, relatively inexpensive, especially without having that DRAM. Your one drawback, of course, is the life isn't quite as good. They like to see roughly about 600 terabyte write per gig or per terabyte, and this one 2 terabyte is only 900 terabyte write. Still, decent, but paired with a 5-year warranty. So even if you haven't written that, you should still be covered for 5 years. So overall, really impressive for QLC drive. This is nothing we've seen from a QLC drive before, but there's a problem. As fast as it is for QLC, it's not anywhere near as fast as a TLC drive. And the MSRP at launch is $150.
Okay.
$150 will buy you a WD Black SN850X.
Yeah.
A couple of bucks more will get you a 990 Pro. These blow this thing out of the water. And hopefully this is a mistake, because the other thing is that the SN7100 is cheaper and almost as fast. So I don't know. I think they're trying to recoup costs a little bit on developing this new in-house QLC that is impressive. I'm not going to argue. But that price, no, it's got to come down.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Two things about that before you go. One, their for storage stuff, their MSRPs are always really high at introduction, and they quickly go down, as we've seen with this last generation of products. And two, if you could show the picture of that again, Sebastian, something that I've noticed that of the actual product itself. Boy, I look like crap. There are 3 chips on that entire thing: the controller, the power delivery, and one QLC. That's it.
That's it.
They have
The rest of it's just blank PCB.
It is the
Isn't that wild?
Impressive gumstick SSD I have seen. There's just nothing on there. There's capacitors, there's power delivery, controller, and 1 2 terabyte QLC chip, and that's it.
And a very large sticker. And that's literally
that's. So yeah, I think that this has the ability to go down in price quickly.
Yeah. Where's the next stage for cost reducing that design?
Put power delivery in the controller, and then sandwich that, like layer that over the NAND.
We'd make it shorter, but that'd cost more.
It has to be that small because they can package this all the way down to something that fits in, the
what is it, 2210?
The Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. This could be a SD card.
If they can solve longevity issues on QLC with QLC speeds of that rate, you could put 8 terabytes on a single stick and it not be outrageous.
Yes.
And I mean, imagine just, getting a little icy dock and sticking a boatload of those in it and having a ton of storage in a tiny little space.
I mean, heck, if you're worried about longevity, reserve 20% of the damn chip or the storage for what do we call it? The reserve. Yeah.
All right.
This could be interesting.
Yes. And speaking of interesting, we had mentioned this last week. It's official. The U.S. government has taken a roughly 9 to 10% ownership stake in Intel. I assume this means Intel cannot divest itself of its foundry, because that's really the reason that the government would want Intel. $8.9 billion in Intel common stock has been purchased by the government. They're not going to get a board seat, though. They're just going to be a passive investor.
Yeah, well, part of it's theoretical money that's coming from grants that the government will be giving them. And, I mean, it's just... We don't stray into this territory, but it's kind of a disgusting deal.
Why is
Isn't
that?
this money already converted from grants they had, converted into equity? Josh,
Sort of,
you were talking
yes,
about this earlier.
It is.
Yeah.
So you can tell if they're not going to be expanding and making use of those funds to the extent that they were originally planning, then it does make sense to... Because obviously the government wants to prop them up. They don't want them to go away because they have mismanaged themselves into the ground. They want a U.S.-based foundry. So...
Yeah, I mean, you know, if in the U.S., I mean, truly, Intel is a crown jewel. You know, NVIDIA is now, AMD is now, but Intel for the longest time was the chip maker in the world that everybody else looked up to for very good reason. And yeah, they've fallen on some hard times, and we can all kind of look back at BK and his mismanagement of the entire thing, which is weird because he was a process engineer. And they brought him up, and typically, you know, they've stayed away from marketing people and you know, the MBAs and the stuff. They wanted to keep an engineer, but he just mismanaged so many aspects of that so poorly. But again, you know, culture-wise, not invented here is a big thing. I mean, there's thousands of reasons, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Intel government deal where they now own 10%. But again, a lot of this was the CHIPS Act and also national security information. Also, putting all of our high-tech foundry in Taiwan, which China, of course, has constantly been making threats against. So they want to be able to still produce stuff in this country. And in terms of, you know, defense and their foundry needs, they very much are interested in having still cutting edge process tech located in the United States. So it's kind of right now a deal with the devil. I don't know all of the details. I don't know if everybody knows all of the details yet, but a lot of stuff still being banged out. And also SoftBank, they obviously see something in Intel because they also invested $2 billion in them this past week. So, you know, maybe the U.S. taxpayers will get a little, you know, break for, I don't know, having invested in a company that is now at rock bottom and is hopefully heading back up. But I don't know. Can't see the future.
Every citizen gets an Intel CPU.
But do they want it?
When do I get my dividend?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's...
But I mean, you know, they put the Ohio one on hold. Upgrades in Arizona and Oregon. I mean, and all this is infrastructure that are paying American workers to help build, and construction companies and materials and high-tech workers and all that stuff. And so, you know, it's like building bridges. It's all infrastructure that is going to be leaned upon. And with Intel, you know, kind of saying, hey, if we don't get any foundry, you know, partners for 18A, then there may not be a 14A. And that's a big threat.
Or
I like your
14,
positivity.
a 14A
Yes.
plus plus or a 14A plus
Yes.
plus plus. Or, yeah. Further proof that Windows Phone is truly dead, as Windows 11 testing new features for resuming Android apps on your PC. Now, there's been a certain level of phone integration in Windows, I think going back to Windows 7. I don't know if Vista had.
Yeah, but you had to get the app for it from the phone.
So
now it's literally nagging me. Hey, we've detected you have an Android phone. Could you please hook it up to my to me? Like,
well,
no,
don't you want to resume your Spotify listening session on your PC once you get within range? I mean, why would you want to?
I don't have Spotify, so that's going to be a problem. But if it'd like to,
that's the only app so far that actually supports the phone to PC feature.
It's not like the integration of old, where you could sort of install and run "quote unquote" native Android apps in a Windows Android-like environment. That's gone, and it's not coming back. And as you were just saying,
what about WSL?
This has to be supported on an app-by-app basis, and even if it only makes sense, if you're near your PC and it just makes sense to have an app handshake and it detects that your phone is nearby. Spotify is sort of the poster child and only app that supports this mechanism yet, or at this time, where you can pick up a program or music or whatever it is you're listening to and continue it on your PC. So it has to be like a handoff from one device to the other, and it's not truly running, an Android app in Windows like it used to.
Brett, is this the type of functionality that one could expect from the Apple ecosystem?
Did I use handoff with a capital H again? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Because I'm just thinking on a Mac, if you have an iPhone and you're wearing your AirPods and you've got your watch, all this stuff is constantly talking. They're all talking to one another. There's the app handoff stuff.
You say that was a good thing.
Sharing thing isn't even something to talk about. It just is.
It just happens. You have no choice. You get too close to your iMac, and then
you're participating.
Headphones aren't connected to your phone anymore because, don't you want to sit down at your computer now and
you wanted your iPad to be an extension screen from your Mac, right? Because we're doing it, suddenly your mouse is over there. How did that?
Obviously, there are certain things that Apple does that certain consumers like. So why wouldn't Microsoft want that kind of integration? Unfortunately, they don't have the phone platform anymore, which is where most people do most of their computing. So if they've got a device in their hands all day long, and they sometimes go to that truck, the PC, to do some heavy lifting.
Oh, there you go again. That's Steve Jobs.
It'd be nice to have some handoff action on the Windows side, so that makes sense. I hope all the big names support it without Microsoft having to throw money at them to do it once, and then they never update it again.
And here I thought I was using handoff in an ironic way, but no.
I interpreted it literally.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's move on from that. NVIDIA pushes neural rendering in gaming. Oh no. With the goal of 100% AI generated pixels. Why even have a game engine anymore? Just tell some data center what kind of character you want, what kind of gameplay experience you're looking for.
Yeah, what kind of environment that the characters inhabit.
You didn't watch any of the games
goals are,
and then stream it, and just stream it over GeForce Now. You don't even have to have hardware.
Yeah, literally, games come in a bucket, right there.
Okay.
Do you know how inefficient that is? I mean, you got to have a game engine and do all the things and then render it through, the current as compared to generative. I mean, generative probably takes up 3 to 4 times the power to render a scene that, okay. So AI enhanced like DLSS, it takes a scene and it makes it better. It's like BASF for computer graphics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's got that basis right there that was rendered. It's a well-known technology. It's been going on for the last 40 years. It does it very efficiently. It can do it very, very quickly. There are some aspects it can do less quickly if you enable ray tracing, do things with, higher advanced shadowing, stuff like that. But if you're just doing AI rendering, world consistency is probably going to suck for a while because there's no basis for what, you turn around and some picture on a mantelpiece has changed, because do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, I think that's so far, yeah, you can do it, but it's pie in the sky and it's extremely inefficient. And
This
don't think the
sounds as
marketers agree
frustrating
with
as
you,
Fallout 4.
yes,
No,
Think
the
of
problem is,
all
Josh, the marketers don't agree with you. The marketers, are saying,
right.
no, this is inconsequential. We will be able to solve this in milliseconds and jump on this bandwagon.
Forget
I'm not
the
saying
power
they're
draw
right.
that makes Bitcoin mining.
It's someone else's power draw.
Yeah,
It's someone else's system. It's someone else. It doesn't. It costs you
all
nothing.
they care about is they sold the chip to somebody and say, hey, here's this functionality. You figure out how to power and cool it, and then get somebody to pay you for that.
It's like Microsoft charging us for Windows, and then we have to beta test it for them. Sort of
Strange.
And this is just the foundation of the modern tech industry is you, the consumer, are giving us as much of your data as we can harvest from you while you beta
Always
test the
has been.
unfinished while you beta test the
Always will
unfinished
be.
product, and then yeah, there's unbelievable amounts of inefficiency, like profligate power usage beyond all understanding.
Well, what are you going to do? Go back to the abacus?
Right, that's right. Because there's the fear of missing out. If you're in business, then you got to have some kind of AI initiative. And then I loved the MIT study that came out recently where 95% of all AI initiatives have yet to turn a profit. And yes, it's a bubble. Even the
I question
OpenAI guy
that.
says it's a bubble. It's
I
a
question
bubble.
that. 5% actually made money on it?
I
think
that's
that's
it was an
exaggerated.
estimate. It was an estimate.
Okay, yes.
So
By an
nobody
AI,
has made any money except for NVIDIA. on
except
this.
for NVIDIA. Yeah. Shovels make money, but there ain't no gold. And strangely enough, all the AI enhancements for jobs sort of cut off at management, don't they?
Isn't that
There's no AI
interesting?
enhanced management.
Considering that most of what CEOs say and do is
AI
just
generated?
cut and paste, cookie cutter BS anyway, that could just be the AI. Allow human workers with an AI overlord, and then we just have Skynet, I guess.
I mean, as long as they pay me well.
Okay. Hey. All right. Was that the end of the news, or is there one more news story? There's one more news story.
There's one more news story, and
There
it
is
is
one
the
more.
most important of them all.
Is it really, though?
So the retro recipes guy and some other people recently bought the Commodore brand, and Amiga could be next. Apparently, writes Tyler August at Hackaday.
The ownership rules, or not rules, but the ownership sort of who owns what part of Commodore of old is very twisted. So Commodore, the new owners, don't actually own the Amiga brand, nor does the current owners of the Amiga brand actually own the operating system that runs on the Amiga platform. So there's kind
That
of
doesn't
like
mean it's free. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have ownership. It's just that no one owns it, but there is a trademark. So you have to fight the legal system to be able to do this.
They are interested in perhaps pulling this all together, but it will take, I don't know, so maybe some money, maybe some ego calming. I'm not entirely sure.
And I mean, hell, they've already stolen the Radio Shack logo, so why not go for it?
I don't know if you've
Look at the Retro Shack. It is totally the original Radio Shack.
Yeah.
And good on them, because that's what they're doing. Because where did you buy your Commie or your Amiga?
This product that came out a couple of years ago, you notice that it doesn't actually say Commodore or Amiga specifically. It calls itself the A500 Mini. Down here, it says that it has Amiga games.
Yes, but
it does not claim that this is in any way an Amiga product. And
they do imply the Boing Ball, though.
They do.
They do imply it.
But not the original Amiga logo, of course, that famous demo. They borrowed that from. They were
not.
skirting the intellectual property there. I'd be fascinated to see what happens here, because the Amiga, I know there's a devoted following to the Commodore, and it was so inexpensive and so ubiquitous for so long. I missed that part of computing history entirely. But the Amiga is...
You were a bit young.
Yeah, the Amiga, it was in my lifetime, but I was too young to appreciate it. It was just, in retrospect, and having bought a couple of them as an adult, they're just amazing. They're tremendously ahead of their time.
Well, new Commodore needs to work this out with, I think it's Hyperion and Cloanto, the consortium
Fascinating.
owners. And they're going to have to bring these people on board because they have so much intellectual knowledge, or maybe even additional IP they've generated over the years that need to be brought together to actually do something with this. But it would be exciting if they did. And that's why it's a bit of a news item.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink.
And our first story, dastardly Docker desktop defect detected, writes Jeremy Delstrom.
Oh, you're giving me the D, are you? So yes, this is a nasty one that thankfully, spoiler alert, there is a patch, update to version 4.443. Seriously, do it. Because this, for some reason, only rated a 9.3. But it is an exploit with a couple of lines. I believe it's 3 lines of Python. You can completely evade DEC, Docker's isolation thing, and launch additional Docker containers up to and including, your C drive. And so your entire file system is now uploaded to a Docker that you have no idea exists. And it's also hidden because you don't know that the Docker install that you have has suddenly done this. I mean, it's a horrible thing for a lot of PC users to try and deal with. And the lovely thing was that I think someone's really annoyed at this because NIST got blocked when I was looking for this actual CVE. NIST was down for a bit. Thank you, Charitard. $2. Yes, we're going to talk about Android a little bit later. But yes, you give us $2, we're going to tell you that we appreciate you, because we do. But Mac users, don't be so smug. Yes, you aren't quite as vulnerable to this Docker vulnerability, but part of the exploit will let you mount directories without a prompt on an Apple machine. The opposite. You won't be able to mount directory without prompt. They can still try and mount one, but you will get a prompt, and some people may just say yes. However, they can get complete control over your Docker install and every single container that is up and available, and just ransack those. So, hey, don't be too smug, Apple users. This one's hitting everyone.
This looks like a faked, what's called a server-side request forgery. So it's a crafted application-specific URL against a particular port on the local machine, and you didn't even know that just happened.
Nope.
Totally invisible.
And it's
thank you for the service.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, pay attention. Do unidentified developers ignore the 19 million downloads of an infected app from the Google Play Store? Now, is this what we were talking about? Google actually?
Yes, this is all tied together.
The
next 3 are all
developers now. Finally,
this is. I believe we've referred to this as a snafu, perhaps. I mean, I'd use a different one, but CF might get us delisted.
Now we have deflect,
the word I was looking for
as part of the D. Consortium here.
Do you want to start with this one, or shall I?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so to start off earlier in the week, Android, the happy-go-lucky operating system of anyone who wants to develop an app for anything and try and figure out how stuff works and post it up and find out how awesome it is or how horrible it is and how much, the internet hates anyone that's creative and, you need to get better. So Google started saying that yesterday they're going to become a lot more like Apple because they're a little bit miffed at something that happened over in the EU, and they're going to have to start hosting other storefronts, and they're really upset about this. So they've gone full Apple, and it's like, no, if you're going to be an Android app developer that is allowed to install an Android app on any Android device on the planet, you're going to have to somehow be identified. They haven't been very clear about this, but this is the way that they're going to start moving forward, is that if you haven't become verified, they're going to block any side loading whatsoever.
Can I get the Simpsons in here? Sorry.
So there is the argument that, hey, this is going to bring security to the Android ecosystem. You know, if they verify the apps like they do on Google Play, this is going to make things a lot better. Fast forward to today, where we find out that 19 million downloads of infected bank applications hosted on Google Play, so verified by Google, have been infected with something that's actually been kicking around for quite a while now, but to be honest, has been updated a little bit. But it's an oldie and a goodie, so it's a keylogger, it intercepts your SMS messages, it can do some other interesting things. So, random kid that just wants to learn how to program and wants to make this little Android app that does whatever for their friends is not going to be allowed to distribute that to their friends because Google has to verify it. Meanwhile, the bad actor, which is redistributing the Intasa banking Trojan, has been getting away with it for months. And this Trojan, by the way, is like 8 years old or so. It just keeps getting updated because it's effective and it's really good at hiding. So yeah, Zscaler pulled out 77 apps with a combined download total of 19 million. And they're all banking apps and stuff. How do I trust Google to make sure that all these sideloaded apps are perfectly safe when the stuff already on Google Play isn't, demonstrably is not, and by blocking all the sideloading apps, you're destroying an entire ecosystem of young makers and hackers that just, hey, we've all got goldfish. I want to make an app where you take a picture and it can sort of tell you whether there's too much algae in the tank or not. And you could do this. I mean, you still can. They haven't completely blocked this yet. But you could just develop this as a kid on Android, sideload it for everyone, or anyone could download it and sideload it, and you could do it. No, I'm sorry. You guys are having too much fun. You're going to have to be protected by the wide open gate we've got, because, I mean, there used to be horses in that barn. The barn door's kind of open, but I swear that all the horses are safe.
From Security Week, under the heading of artificial intelligence, hackers weaponize trust with AI-crafted emails to deploy Screen Connect. Now, I have had very recent personal experience with this. A friend of mine got a hold of me because they got a message while they're at work. They weren't paying attention. They thought it was legitimate. They clicked on it, and they were talked into deploying this app. They actually had to download it. Mm-hmm. It's a verified app. It's called ConnectWise Screen Connect. Now, this is apparently on iOS, it's view only. So the session that they were involved in, my friend's wife was involved in, was having them open certain things and do certain things and talking them into trying to reveal personal info. At that point, she got scared and hung up on him and deleted the app. But this has become pretty common. I did some research right after it happened and like, oh, this is like a whole thing. ConnectWise Screen Connect.
Yeah, it has legitimate uses.
Yes.
Of course, when it's maliciously applied, it can be very devastating, especially if you don't know that it's there, because it allows you to essentially spy on anything that user is doing. So the trick here is that it's not all that hard to compromise somebody's email, unfortunately, especially with the weakness of passwords or the multiple uses of passwords, and then large data sets are shared. Maybe you've reused it. Let's just say that people are going to get into a fair number of protected password accounts. What the hackers are doing, they're leveraging the contacts and ongoing actual conversations that user was participating in, and they are using AI to craft email messages that seem to fit right into an active conversation that this compromised user may have been having, or parts of their address book are then mined for additional users. But again, the AI is being used here to craft a very compelling message that, as your friend's wife discovered, gets them to download a piece of software, and that is Screen Connect. And these can be disguised as Zoom meetings or invitations or PDFs or any number of seemingly legitimate links that you may receive in an email from a trusted colleague or a friend. And that's really where the danger comes in, unfortunately, is that it's becoming even difficult to protect yourself against hacks that are coming from people that you may consider computer literate and wouldn't get themselves hacked. Maybe they used a weaker password. Maybe it's part of a password, hacking, essentially script that has millions and millions of passwords that have been used. And your friend maybe unfortunately used one and got their account hacked. So that's the point of this, is that beware of even what looks like legitimate emails now.
It's
Very
for being an
legitimate
action movie and kind of brainless. The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. I mean, how they targeted the older gal who was his friend and what they did to her. I mean, that is not uncommon. That happened to our CFO's mother. Had essentially the exact same thing. They convinced her to download, kind of a TeamViewer thing. And they took over the computer, and it, it's not good. And I mean, unfortunately, this gal, this mother, she had recently lost her husband, and these people prey on those who are vulnerable and may not be as savvy, and take advantage of you. And this is just another time that they're people want your money, and they have no ethical or ethics whatsoever to just thieves stealing.
And one of the differences here is those messages were sometimes easy to kind of pick apart from more legitimate messages. Now with AI and the hacker side, they're sliding right into conversations. Analyze the conversations between this user and this user. Yes, this user. Craft a legitimate follow-on message that includes this link, et cetera, et cetera. AI happily composes that, and boom.
And before anyone chimes in with what I would, which is, oh no, I've begun to watch and notice the AI generated stuff, because it does have specific, things. There are certain phrases it uses. There's certain platitudes that it uses. No, I don't care. I'm not that good. I like to think I am. I'm not. Neither are you.
You're a moment of weakness. You're going to be busy. Something's going to happen.
All right. Well, on that down note, we have concluded this week's Insecurity Corner. Let us move.
Now, Kelt can take his fingers out of his ears.
Yeah. Or put your headphones back on. Kelt, if you're watching the video, put the headset back on, because now it is time for Gaming Quick Hits. See, this is what we actually got into PC hardware for, the games, or just the lust over the hardware itself and our, bizarre fascination with it. Squadron 42. Now, you may have been hearing about this for, I don't know, the better part of 2 decades now. It was supposed to come out in 2015. Here we are 11 years later.
And even
Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are related, but not quite the same.
Yeah, why not release
Star
something
Citizen
else?
has made him billions of dollars. Squadron
Star
42
Citizen
is not released
still not done. Never will be. But Squadron 42 might be, and it's feature complete
in 2023,
and it's going to rival GTA 6. It's just going to be huge, guys. Let's look at the crowdfunding chart here.
Unreleased game is going to be bigger than unreleased game.
Not a chance. But
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I totally see that.
I feel like GTA
Unless
6...
Is this him announcing that Squadron 42 is just GTA 6 in space?
Cast your mind back to 1999, regardless of how the movie was received by critics and subsequently by fans. The Phantom Menace was always going to make a tremendous amount of money. There was just so much pent-up demand for new Star Wars after, I don't know, was it 16 or 17 years? 16 years after Jedi. So GTA 5, such an unbelievably successful game. There's so much... GTA 6 is just automatically going to be big. It would take devastating performance issues and just horrendous reviews to keep it from dominating the charts when it comes out. I don't think there's a chance that a niche product like Squadron 42 can possibly compete, but we'll see.
You know,
And
Chris is
Roberts
dead to me since he abandoned Dungeon Siege universe. So
right? That was a time that I sort of turned on him, and then I signed up for the Kickstarter for the Squadron 42, and then I sort of never gave them money. I think he took that personally.
So you're the reason
I
why.
remember doing that as well. It sounds familiar.
Well, it was just sort of like, oh no, we're moving from Kickstarter to my own platform where you can buy a ship for $35,000 real money.
That's
Or not. Or not.
I love clicking on these links because every one of these links goes farther and farther back in time. I've gone all the way back to 2012, and there are still more historical links to click on. This has been going on for so long. Millions and millions of dollars, and people invest so much money into it that they just psychologically, they can't... It's almost like they can't stop.
You know who's probably the most upset about this? Derek Smart. Do you remember him?
Battle Cruiser 3000
2000 and Universal Combat. There is an AI in charge of each of my asteroids. Yeah, but sure there is.
You know, since the release of the Wing Commander movie that Chris Roberts produced, we should have seen the writing on the wall. You know, Jurgen Proch now in space, listening to Sonar Pigs on the moon. It was all a little too much.
Yeah, it was.
So is Star Citizen the video game equivalent of Amway?
No, Amway delivers.
Yeah, you actually get products.
Lots of promises of all these wonderful things.
Look, it's the American
And then you end
way.
up with a garage full of toilet paper and paper towels.
They're
Hey,
into
you're still
I think
winning.
supplements now. Like they're doing like energy bars and stuff or something.
Well, you're going to need that toilet paper.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
Next.
I think we talked about this last week, I think, but here's a proper story from Tech Power Up from back on the 21st. Microsoft's advanced shader delivery. Now, this is something that they brought out with their like ROG Xbox Ally, their official Microsoft co-branded ROG Ally. And this is where it will debut, distributed through the Xbox PC app. But this is something where they claim those initial loading times are reduced by up to 85%. You know, those shader
Compiler.
Yeah.
Yes, shader optimization, shader compile. Yes. So
They're going to pull it down from the cloud. They're going to download pre-compiled state object databases.
For your
as the
particular
fully
hardware. It's so
compiled-
easy for them to do because it's one or two
Yes.
hardware configurations.
In this
the
case,
Ally or
but
LAX.
they're looking at generalizing this. That's to some degree, and they're doing a lot of like game store. They're building Steam again. You know, they have these visions of grandeur occasionally.
This is
So
smart
they're
because
going to go build this again.
this is something that would not be possible without, living in the age where we do with, everybody having broadband now pretty much. So
Yes.
you would not be able to have a driver package that contained all these pre-compiled shaders the game itself would have a massive install if you had to load all these different hardware configurations on board. But if you just identify and then download during the installation, I guess that makes sense.
They're trading off CPU cycles, local CPU cycles for the immense bandwidth you probably have access to. We'll just download that. You don't have to compile it on that CPU in your hand. That's going to save a ton of battery, ton of runtime.
True. It's not. That's
It
not
is.
a.
That is actually 100% true.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll ever translate to desktop. It makes too much sense not to. I mean, look at how they've managed the current generation of Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a lot of data streaming along over your broadband connection to make that game work.
Well, I mean, now that AOL's cut off dial-up, I guess you have no choice.
Yeah.
This will help a lot of different mobile platforms as well. Would you be surprised to find out that there's a lot of mobile gaming going on out there?
Is it? I don't like to consider that to be true gaming. But
It is true.
I'm an elitist snob.
Of course. Of course.
I look at my wife playing something in portrait orientation on her phone where she's just flicking with one finger. I'm like, that's not a game. Is there even I'm obnoxious about it. Like, is there a winning condition in that thing you're playing? What do you mean? Like, can you win the game? No. You just go on to another level forever. It's like, that's not a game. It's an entertainment time waster, but it's not a game if there's no winning condition. Technically. It's a enjoyable argument that, is very popular in my house. Finally, from videocards.com, Valve Fremont appears on Geekbench. 6-core AMD custom APU, Radeon RX 7600 level graphics. Is this the next SteamOS box?
Maybe.
Who's Fremont?
It's just rumors. It's rumors. That's how it identified
That's not
itself.
good.
It's a code name.
Gordon Fremont. Oh, wait, what?
So the Valve Fremont APU appears to be based on Hawk Point, so Ryzen 8040 or Ryzen 200 series. Mobile APUs, it's Zen 4, it's Radeon 780M, so it's RDNA 3, 12 of those CUs.
That seems old.
Yeah. But still,
I mean, not just old, but cheap. But it's like, or do they really want someone doing processing on that?
No.
I mean, no one's laying down
It's
those
going to be
lines
like a
anymore.
15 watt TDP unit that is going to be able to run games.
They're talking about it being paired with an RX 7600 level card.
Oh
here. I'm not
shit!
really
Maybe
sure how
Intel's got a fab customer now. They can do RDNA 3 and 3.5.
so much more power.
It's... Yeah.
I mean,
it's a heck of a lot.
jump up.
It's a heck of a lot more powerful than what's in your Roku. But it's. Hopefully the price is right. If this is a $99 box that can technically play games,
Cool.
then great.
Yeah.
It won't be. That controller alone will be a big chunk of the total price, I'm sure.
The second controller will be very expensive.
Oh, I see. Yes.
That's how that works.
Yes. All right. Let us move to picks of the week. Josh, did you have a pick this week?
I did.
Really?
I'm still impressed by how 2.5 gigabit switches are going down. So I chose this TrendNet one, even though in the US, there's who the hell knows what's going to happen. Pricing all under $100 for an 8-port 2.5. Dumb switch, but still, that's $85 for a metal case.
It can't be hacked because it's dumb.
Yeah. And it doesn't have any fans. And yeah, no, it's just 8 ports. That's most people need, a few ports for their house. 5, sometimes not enough. 8, you're usually pretty good. So yeah, I'm happy that we're finally getting into more affordable networking gear above 1 gigabit, because we were some 20 years of 1 gigabit and everything else was way too expensive. So nobody did it. And now we're finally at a spot where, a lot of the infrastructure is improving. We got 2.5 and 5 and 10 gigabit stuff that the average consumer can buy. And, not everybody needs it. But I tell you, when I got my 2 gigabit fiber coming in here and I upgraded my entire network to 2.5, the complaints about, who's downloading something, all went away. And it was wonderful. It was peace in my house. Not to quote Neville Chamberlain, but we'll have peace in our time until, of course, now games are going to be 500 gigabyte in size. And anyway, that'll be a problem for tomorrow.
Something to be said about higher speed than gigabit going to a switch, which may have multiple devices attached to it. While any particular one of those devices may not be at full 2.5 gigabit line speed, perhaps multiple devices coming together on that backhaul might burst over 1 gigabit. So it's useful. I did have some trouble with my my TrendNet when actually using a 4K Roku. I had it connected to a different one than you suggested, but I had it connected to TrendNet behind the TV. And whenever the Roku would power cycle, it wouldn't reconnect to the TrendNet unless I also repowered the TrendNet. Come to find out, the 4K Roku is actually 100 megabits.
Geez.
The cheapest of cheap. I know. It wasn't even gigabit. It does work. It does work. It just kind of locks up and will only handshake in kind of one direction. I switched it out for a PoE Ubiquity device. No, PoE Ubiquity device because I've got like 7 or 8 devices behind the television. It's actually one of the busiest places in the house, if you can believe it. So 2.5 gigabit backhaul on that one is probably worth it, strangely enough. But yeah.
So talk about a company that has come from nowhere and is now dominating is Ubiquity. Their stuff is truly
I got to try them
impressive.
because I despised them the first time I ran into them, and you guys say no.
They're a pain in the ass.
They have matured.
Yeah.
Because I went D-Link, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I also didn't go multi-gigabit. I went 1 gigabit with PoE, because it was PoE that I needed. So when I upgraded 2.5 or 5, I think I'll go Ubiquity. But Josh, I am very disappointed that you didn't bring in a Dick Van Patten quote there.
Okay,
an 8-port router.
8 is enough.
It's
to build our house, to fill our house with love.
It's
8 is enough.
I feel like 8 is enough for a LAN party that fits in your house. I saw somebody in the chat saying LAN party at Josh's after this pick, and that's where my mind goes.
Yeah, if you're going for a 32-bit, that's getting a little bit personal.
32 ports is too many.
32 ports.
That's where are they going to go? I don't know whose house.
Don't ask. Don't tell.
Yeah. Backyard, driveway, folding tables. It could work.
Duct tape to the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
They're in your room. They're on your bed.
Probably.
It's not good. And then some of them don't want to leave.
In your head. In your head. In your head.
Jeremy, your pick this week.
Well, I mean, having undergone the upgrade operation of a new computer and the evisceration of my wallet, I found a new deal that now I'm really hoping might be able to print me a new bank card that hopefully isn't attached to anyone I know's actual accounts. Creality is a well-known 3D printer company, and apparently the K1 Speedy FDM is not quite half price, but, and this is Canadian money, $360 off. So a total of $440 for a very well-reviewed 3D printer. Not huge, 220 by 250. So you're not going to print yourself, a new head or anything with this. But apparently it's very quick, very accurate, and at $440, I'm seriously considering being irresponsible because I still have not bought myself a 3D printer.
You should get one.
I've got a 3D pen. That one over there. It's hard to work with. I'm not as artistic with that as I was hoping I was. This would probably be a lot easier to deal with. And the nice thing about Creality is you can mod these things till its last breath. These are one of the bigger models out there. They have a lot of support. And yeah, I'm very tempted.
This could be your room, Jeremy?
So clean. Oh, including the iMac.
Of course, without a doubt.
You should add that.
Yeah, that's totally not going to be my room.
Oh, okay.
First off, not impressed by the artwork. I'm sorry. I got better artwork on my walls.
This is very minimalist here, very modern, very
Those
soulless.
two prints cost me $1,000.
You say minimalist, but there is a cutout in the middle underneath where I assume that's supposed to be a TV, or is it a TV that's a picture?
No, it's an inset, and then there's just a picture frame painting on the wall in the inset, which has purple LED lighting.
Yeah, but underneath it is just like there's a fake motorcycle, and no, that's
I think it's
not
a Final
minimalist.
Fantasy VII. It's like Cloud's motorcycle from FF7. Possibly.
Yeah, maybe
Something like that. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, not impressed.
Brett, your pick this week.
Really simple pick this week. Super cheap. Kids always losing the headset. You don't want to give them the good ones. They're in the car. They're in the camper. They're outside. They're wandering around with them. You need to hand out a bunch of headsets at your next LAN party because 5 of your friends forgot it. Buy in bulk. $12 at Woot will get you 5 pairs of headphones. Buy now. Buy in bulk. $12, 3.5 millimeter, of course, wired headphones. Kids always breaking them. Kids losing them. Need more sets for around the house.
These look like school headphones, all right, because they need those wired headphones to plug into their Chromebooks in elementary school now. So,
yeah. So this is the deal: wired kids headsets, or in a pinch, all of your small-headed friends are over in a LAN party that are all plugging into Josh's Switch. Give them these.
Here's the specs. We ready for the specs on these headphones?
Can't wait.
5 bulk on-ear 3.5 millimeter wired kids headphones for school with inline.
Yeah, that's it.
Those are the specs.
$12. We'll get you 5.
You don't need to know what kind of frequency response or sensitivity they have because it doesn't matter. They're kids.
Nope. It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm getting from this.
Okay. And if it gets cold in the winter, they double as earmuffs.
And from the judging by the photos, the quality of those the pads on the ears, you would probably get your kids home and they would have these black circles.
Probably.
You say that as like it's a bad thing and not a feature.
Kent, your pick this week.
So, graphics cards seem to be mildly returning to sanity price-wise, and some of the ones that have been impossible to get are coming into stock. And it's still probably a bit overpriced, but, it's not as overpriced as it was. And right now, you can get an RTX 5080 at MSRP in stock. Third fastest GPU on the market. Right behind, the last generation 4090 and the current 5090.
Can we get Josh to say the price? Although it's a little higher than normal.
Wow. $999.99.
99.
Thank you.
99.
And it's a reference PCB, so you can get a water block for it pretty easily if that's your thing. So, there we go.
Wow, that's the first time I've seen a retail 5080.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Fingers crossed this becomes a thing.
Oh. I still ain't buying one. I'm poor.
We're lucky they make any,
considering with Mike Reality. If I buy
how small a part of NVIDIA's revenue comes from gaming GPUs.
Yeah.
Well, you're exaggerating, Brett. No,
right.
smaller.
It's
smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Smaller than the so small.
4.3 out of 46.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's time to end the podcast. So bring up the music. Track Tribes by the fireplace. now playing its royalty-free music from the YouTube audio library that you're listening to right now in the final version of this podcast. As we say goodnight, here at PC Perspective, we want to thank everyone for listening, watching the live stream if you were one of those elite.
Giving
and
$2 at a time.
Night, sweetheart.
Yes.
Well, it's time to go.
Going back to our PBS roots, thank you for giving. I'm sure at some point in the future we'll have just a full-on pledge drive. We'll interrupt ourselves constantly through the podcast and let you know that you could get a tote that could be had at your local grocery store for like $4.
What we'll do is we'll get our kids behind us manning phone banks. And, they'll pretend, picking up and talking and writing things and looking around and joking with each other and then pick up the phone. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Where kids are manning the phones and later they'll go down to the basement where their sewing machines are for Nike.